a woman over 40 and you're trying to lose weight on keto, you've probably heard this one before. You need to cut out fruit entirely. But here's the truth. Some fruits can actually help you burn fat, balance your hormones, and keep your blood sugar stable if you use them the right way. Hey, I am Ryan. I'm a keto coach and a certified advocate through the Metabolic Terrain Institute of Health. And I specialize in helping men and women reclaim their energy, reverse insulin resistance, and finally lose that stubborn weight. Today, I am walking you through the fruits that I recommend for women over 40 on keto or low carb diet, and exactly how to use them so that they support your metabolism instead of wrecking it. So what's the problem with fruit on keto? Traditional keto advice is no fruit ever. Most of that advice is about hitting macro targets and not about what happens to real women's bodies as we age. And as women in our 40s and beyond, we're not just managing carbs. We're dealing with shifting hormones, stubborn sleep, slower recovery, and a metabolism that doesn't respond like it did when we were in our 20s. So no, fruit is not the devil. In fact, the right fruits in the right amounts at the right times can support your fat loss, can help reduce inflammation, and can stabilize insulin. So let's talk about the 4 I suggest with my clients and I consume myself. So what are the 4 fruits that I do recommend? The first up are berries. Blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, strawberries. Those are by far my favorite fruit for women over 40 on keto. They are low in sugar, they're high in fiber, and they are loaded with antioxidants that help improve insulin sensitivity, which is key if you're dealing with stubborn weight or blood sugar issues. In fact, there was a study that found that people with insulin resistance who ate blueberries daily saw real improvements in how their body handled carbs without changing anything else in their diet. There was another study that showed that frozen blueberries may actually have more antioxidant availability than fresh ones. So those ice crystals will break open the plant walls and make the nutrients more absorbable. And I love that because frozen blueberries are one of my favorite desserts. Studies on strawberries show that they can actually improve cholesterol markers, lower LDL oxidation, and even have anti-clotting effects, which is huge for heart health, especially during perimenopause. So you might be wondering, what's the carb count on these? Well, you want to stick to a 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup, which is about 4 to 9 grams of carbs, depending on the type of berry. And you want to pair them with fat or protein. How I like to eat them is I like to toss them into some full-fat Greek yogurt or some coconut yogurt, or you can mash them into a chia pudding that you make with a coconut cream or coconut yogurt. It's so good and it's blood sugar friendly. Number 2 is avocado. Yeah, it's technically a fruit and it's basically perfect for keto. It's high in fiber and potassium, way more potassium than a banana, by the way, which helps fight the keto flu and it supports adrenal function. It's packed with vitamin B5, which supports your stress response and your energy metabolism, and it contains healthy fats that help you stay full longer and absorb other nutrients better. And here's something cool. There was a large study of over 14,000 Hispanic adults that found that people with type 2 diabetes who ate avocado regularly had lower blood sugar, lower A1C, and better insulin response after meals. That means that avocado isn't just keto friendly, it might actually support better blood sugar control, especially if you're insulin resistant or already dealing with metabolic issues. So I eat about half an avocado almost every day, usually with eggs, but you could pair it with just about any protein, right? The carb count is about 2 to 3 grams of net carbs per half avocado. So next up are 2 fruits you might already have in your kitchen that could totally change your digestion game. So number 3 are lemon and lime. So think of lemon and lime as functional fruits. They're not just flavor boosters. They help stimulate bile, which is how your body breaks down fats. And sluggish bile is one of the biggest reasons that people struggle with keto digestion. So these citrus fruits are also very high in vitamin C and natural flavonoids that support immunity and will help with bloating. So there have been studies that have linked limes to reduced heart disease risk and better immune function, which is especially important for women over 40 when inflammation tends to rise. So I love to start my day with water and lemon. I fill up a mason jar with water, I add a pinch of salt and a squeeze of lemon. So the carb count in lemon or lime is about 5 grams of carbs, but you're really only using maybe half a lime or a portion of the lime, so it is super low impact. So the number 4 fruit is tart cherries. So this one might actually surprise you, but tart cherries are a secret weapon for better sleep, recovery, and even urinary health. And they are naturally high in melatonin, which helps to regulate your sleep-wake cycle. And so listen, if you are in perimenopause and your sleep is trash, that's gonna impact your hunger, your cravings, your stress, your fat loss, big time. So there was a study that found that tart cherry juice significantly increased melatonin levels in just 7 days. And there was another that showed that it helped to reduce the risk of gout attacks by 35%, which is often tied to metabolic dysfunction. And on top of that, tart cherries are rich in compounds that support the urinary tract, which is a big deal for women who are prone to UTIs. They inhibit bacterial growth and reduce inflammation in the bladder. So here is a little tip. You can make a little after dinner drink with 2 ounces of tart cherry juice, some sparkling water, some ice. If you want to sweeten it up, you can add a few drops of stevia. And if you really want like a sleep boost, you can add a teaspoon of magnesium calm powder and take that in the evening.
So let's make our tart cherry juice for our after dinner drink. So you're going to need tart cherry juice. So this one is a juice from concentrate. So the measurement, if it is from concentrate, will be different. We want 2 ounces or less of tart cherry juice, but since this is a concentrate, we're going to be counting tablespoons. So 4 tablespoons will make 8 ounces when reconstituted. We don't need that much. So we're just gonna use 1 tablespoon. Okay, so we have 1 tablespoon. So I have some of this Calm magnesium supplement. So for this one, I'll only add about a teaspoon. So I'm gonna add some sparkling water, and then you can add a few drops of stevia if you wanna sweeten it up a bit. I'm just gonna add 2 drops and then top it off with some more water. So you can make it with or without the magnesium.
So what's the carb count? Well, 2 ounces of tart cherry juice has about 8 to 9 grams of carbs, which is totally doable if you use it strategically. So what should you avoid when it comes to fruit? So even the best fruits can backfire if you don't use them the right way. So let's talk about what to avoid. You want to avoid fruit by itself. So that's going to be sugar straight to your bloodstream. You want to avoid juicing your fruit because you're stripping out the natural fiber and basically turning it into sugar water. And you want to avoid overdoing it. So yes, fruit is natural, but natural does not always mean harmless, especially if you are sensitive to sugar. So don't overdo it and be careful with your portion sizes. It's always a good idea to pair your fruit with fat, protein, or fiber. Think of it as a side and not a main event. So here are my simple rules for fruit on keto. Whole fruit always beats juice. You want to stick to 1/4 to 1/2 cup max of your berries. Pair your fruit with fat or protein and eat it earlier on in the day, especially if you're insulin resistant, and check how you feel. So if you are trying to stay in ketosis, you want to test your blood sugar after consuming your fruit to see how it impacts your glucose and your ketones. And also make note if it affects your energy levels or makes you feel hungrier after. So this is all about metabolic flexibility and not perfection. You don't have to fear fruit, you just need to use it strategically. If this video helped you rethink fruit on keto, drop a strawberry emoji in the comments. Let me know, which fruit are you adding back into your meals this week? And if you want the full roadmap to reversing insulin resistance, getting your energy back, and finally feeling amazing in your 40s and beyond, you need to check out my guide and journal, Metabolic Mastery. I'm gonna link it down for you below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with a friend who is stuck thinking that fruit is off limits. So I've got more videos coming to help you eat smarter, move better, and just feel like yourself again. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.